Okay, now let's turn to page 36, and these are the suggested practices. We are going to install the server core option on another computer and then add the server core installation to the domain we just created. Alrighty, let's come. So we're going to make a new machine, and this one is going to be called, using the same naming convention, Van Core SB, and it's Windows 64-bit. Go ahead, bump it up to 1024. Use an existing that you can get excuse me, from me. There's your core, create, and let's start. Seems to be choking just a bit. Says it's starting now. Okay, so this is the core machine I built on the VDI file that I am going to share with anyone who would like to have it. And again, I use the same password that I was asked to use. Came up a lot more quickly because this is not the first time I have turned on this machine. And let's see now, if I look at either the lab document that I provided, or I go back to the appendix in the back of your book, and I notice that I will notice that, oh good grief, restart now. I'm going to restart later. If we notice the other machines that we're working with, exercise 3, it says preparing a member server and joining it to the domain. Exercise 4, preparing a second member server and joining it to the domain. Exercise 5, configuring a client computer. If you look at the test that you're completing in the appendix for each of those exercises, you're going to notice that to prepare any computer or server, client, whichever, to join a domain, it first has to have its address, and then it needs to know what its DNS address is. So let's do that first. So let's come in here. First, let me do ipconfig all and see what the name of this computer is. Okay. Look at the name on this computer. Now, I most definitely do not want to have to type all that. So let's go ahead and rename this computer as well. Well, I'll give it an address first, since that's what they do in the book. I'll give it 22. And while that's working, I'm going to go ahead and change to bridge networking here so that my machines can talk. Probably setting off alarms downstairs, but oh well. I'm going to change this machine. Obviously, if I'm trying to join a domain controller, in order for the domain controller to respond or even hear that I'm requesting, it's going to need to be running. So make sure your domain controller is running in addition to your core. Alright, so we've got that straight. Let's go ahead and rename this computer. let's do an ipconfig all and see what kind of address and what. Oh, how nice. I've got a nice address, and the name hasn't taken over yet. Let's ipconfig again, because my name, you know what, I think we maybe that we have to reboot the computer in order for the name to take. So let's shut it down and restart. And there's probably a nice tidy command line like start, restart, something like that, so that we wouldn't have to X out of the machine. Okay, let's log back in. Alright, let's check our IP configuration now. How nice. So that restart gave us a good name. We've got a good address. Let's see if I can ping. Okie dokie, I'm pinging, so let me just go ahead and try to join the domain. And this is van-core sb to domain at datumsb.com with the user administrator using a password, and my password let's see, fail to complete, does not exist or could not be contacted. Let's have a look, make sure it's unbridged. Let's check our IP configuration on here. Alright. Let's try to ping. Oh, you know what we forgot to do? Silly me. Okay, so we renamed. If we're going to expect any DNS to work, do you think we should set our DNS? Now it will know where to send all these letters for translation. Let's ipconfig one more time. And where's our DNS? Okay, now we have DNS. So now let's see if we can't join the domain. Amazing. Look at that. And the instructions were right here in the appendix.